Hey there! So this week we're exploring the E vowel. I'm using the International Phonetic Alphabet symbol, E, you can see that here, as in the words me, be, or C, or T. I'm going to take you through several steps of playing with the E vowel in new ways with the hopes of finding freedom and balance with this vowel. Now I'm going to look at it and we're going to play with it in a really pure way. We're not going to think of it necessarily as in a specific maybe style or sound. But because of this pure way of looking at the E vowel, you can use it for your classical singing and you can use it for your contemporary singing, right? So you can apply many of these tips that I'm suggesting. Because for contemporary singers, in my studio, some of my contemporary students whose style is to sing more like how they speak, sometimes they can often manipulate the E vowel in a way that it can get kind of tight or strained, sometimes even sound contrived, pushed, or too bright. And with the classical singer, what we want to do is we want to find that nice E vowel that we can sing top to bottom that's really pure and serving whatever language it is that we're singing in, whether it's Italian, French, German, or English, or whatever language that you're singing your songs in. It's my feeling that every singer can benefit from exploring the E vowel through the following steps. So we're going to dive right in. What we're going to do is we're going to just do one pitch, because I want you to first start like, where is my E vowel today? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pick C4. Now for you, you can pick any note that you want. Okay, and we're just going to hang on this note. For me, I'm just going to see me, 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 me. I want to see where it is within my speaking range, right? Because we talked about that in the last lesson, kind of finding it. Where is it for me right now? Me, 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 B, 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 C, 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 I see, I see. C, 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 C. I want a cup of tea, tea. That feels really natural to me, that E vowel, okay? Play with it on whatever note feels good to you. I just picked middle C because it's right within my speaking range. Now, the next thing what we're going to do is I just want you to play with exaggerating the tongue position in the E vowel, because sometimes we get stuck. We're like, well, this is how an E vowel is made. There's no other way to make it. But wait, that tongue is making that E vowel. So E, I'm going to play with moving the tongue forward and back within the mechanism. It's going to sound funky. It's not going to be perfect, but I want us to explore that my tongue can actually be in a different position. Right? Weird. You can see it when it goes too far back. We get that little Kermit the Frog, right? That can sometimes happen when we're singing an E vowel. Sometimes we get a little bit of that tongue depression, okay? That gives you an idea what that feels like. Sometimes people shove that tongue forward. All I'm doing is messing with the tongue position. Pretty interesting, right? So we have to be strategic about where that tongue is, okay? Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to take you through, after you felt those extremes, I want you to feel what the desired tongue position is for this exercise. And I'm going to show you an image, right? So this is the desired tongue position in your mouth. Okay. Now, we don't want the tongue too far forward and bunched up, because that gives us that E. The tongue is really far forward. In fact, if you have a mirror, you can look at that. It's really far forward. E. But what I want is I want the upper part, that back upper part of the tongue, to touch the upper teeth. E. E, me, 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 be, 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 me, 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 me. And because in step number 2 we explored those exaggerated states of the tongue, feel free at this point to go, okay, where is that place? Even if I play with those extremes. I'm going to move it back a little bit. See how that dampens the sound and I get more of that depressed tongue sound, right? And I'm going to put it right back up to where the upper part of that tongue is touching those molars, my upper molars. too far forward. E. More of the tongue is touching the teeth and it's pushing forward a little bit. I think it's really important to take some time right now to feel that you can really manipulate the position of that tongue. You can have more engagement, you can have it pushed a little far back, right? We did that with the extremes, but now that you know where I want you, what is that place again? E, e. This will also be a place where I want you to have that tongue. But again, as you're finding your unique sound, your sound that feels good to you, your sound that feels like your speech, play with that. You can mess around with that a little bit, okay? I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, it has to be right there and I can't move it. It can't go anywhere else. Let it be flexible. Let it be in that place, but let it not be too far forward or too far back, okay? This is a really important point. This is point number 4. So E is a tongue position. It's not a mouth position. Okay? So sometimes when we think about an E, like, hey, I'm going to say me, B, and C, many people say me, and they make it a lip position. B, and they go horizontal. C, and they do this horizontal motion in their mouth. If you are one that does that, and I was too until I learned how to go, okay, this is just a tongue position, not a mouth position. If you're constantly doing this all the time through your entire range, that limits the flexibility of that E vowel. That limits the text that you're going to say, and it also limits your emotional expression, because if you're saying a word with a E and you have to do this and it's a sad song, right? It doesn't convey. So we want to really look at the fact that the E is a tongue position, not a mouth position. This may be something that you have to really watch yourself in the mirror, because if every time you sing a me or an E vowel and you spread, I want you to start catching that and go, oh, I don't have to do that. It's just a tongue position, right? So now, again, for my contemporary singers, if you're wanting a more bright sound and you've been told to smile on those E vowels, go ahead and do that, right? For whatever you want, the style that you want to do. But for my classical singers, I want to make sure that you do not engage that mouth on every E vowel, okay? And for my contemporary singers, if that E is becoming a problem, drop that mouth. Just let the lips go, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to play with that. I want you to not smile, right? So no E, right? We're going to have relaxed articulators. These are our articulators, right? So what you're going to do to practice that is you're going to put your fingers right here to catch yourself. If you start to smiling, I want deadpan faces right now, no smiling faces, which is hard for me because I love a good smile, right? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start on that E, and if you need to catch in again to kind of me, B, 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 C, 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 T, 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 me, E, E. When I'm trying to explore, I don't want to like be super specific. I like to kind of slide around, right? Let the muscles kind of find their flow. You might be nervous because you might be like, oh my gosh, I'm being pitchy. That's not the exercise right now. We're just finding relaxation with this in this E, okay? E, E, E. The tip of my tongue is behind my bottom front teeth here, okay? But I'm not pushing against it. It's just kind of lying there, but I'm noticing that that upper part of the tongue back here is up toward those upper molars, okay? E, E. So E is a tongue position, okay? That's a big one for you to remember and to loosen those articulators. So for point number 5, E is a tongue position, and it's not a jaw position. This is another thing that I oftentimes I see happen with the E vowel. We want to have a jaw that's kind of unhinged here, right? It's just relaxed. It's feeling like there's a little bit of slack in there. For those of us that have tight jaws, our jaw is meant to stay closed, right? That's what our muscles are supposed to be doing. It's supposed to keep our mouth shut. So having a relaxed jaw may be a little bit harder for some of us. But in this eval, sometimes people get in, they do the smile, and they tighten the jaw. So they're holding that eval with their jaw. Completely unnecessary for your eval. Okay, so now what I want us to do is I want you to be in that jaw, and let's even massage it a little. Why not, right? You can pick whatever note you want. Make sure that vowel's not holding in there, okay? And this one, the one that we did before, making sure we don't smile too much while we're doing that E, this one can help relax the jaw as well. Okay, play with whatever formations as far as patterns with the music that feels good to you. Slide around. You know, don't feel like it has to be a set regimen. I want you to explore what this feels like for you. So, point number 6, E is a relaxed tongue position. Now, while I've got you up here and you're feeling like, okay, my E is here, E with that high tongue in the back, and that's nice and relaxed in the front, what I want to check for is I want to make sure that this part of the tongue underneath here, the root of the tongue, where it attaches right here behind the chin, that it's not tightening for you. Okay, so to find our pure E vowel, a vowel that we can use from top to bottom, we need to make sure that some of these muscles are not getting involved and kind of affecting the tone. Okay, so because remember, the tongue, the tip is here, yes, and it loops back around and connects here right behind the chin, right? So we want it to be fleshy. So for a second, let's just test this, because I know I've taught you this before, but if I haven't, let's review this. Put your thumb right here in this soft little pocket here and swallow. And you can feel the tongue get tight. That's its job. It's helping you swallow, okay? While we are singing, we don't want that tongue to be hard and pushing down. We don't want the swallowing muscles involved in any of our vowels, and we don't want it involved in the E. So now we're going to sing E, and we want to make sure that this part of our tongue underneath here stays nice and soft and fleshy, okay? So, and I want you to make sure that you also don't tighten that tongue on your inhale. Sometimes when we're breathing, we engage that tongue right from the get-go, and we want to make sure it stays soft. So, and I'm pushing around, just going, okay, are you soft? Yes, good. You soft? Good. If it's hard, if you're finding that it's grabbing a lot, sing a little quieter. And play with the tongue position in a way that you find where it's soft. So I remember when I started to do this and to explore this a long time ago, I realized that I was depressing my tongue in the back a little bit, grabbing a little bit of back. So I had to soften that tongue and then find my E. Okay, so that beautiful part of your tongue underneath here needs to be soft and fleshy. We also don't want to feel it move a ton as you're changing pitches. It shouldn't grab in between all the pitch changes as well, because that'll help your E stay beautiful. So, point number 7, E has a relaxed neck and head. All right, so now we're going to explore that. You see how you can go through each one of these exercises, finding this new place with this E. So let's play with this. We're gonna have a relaxed head. So all we're gonna do is nod, okay? This also releases the constrictor muscles a little bit as well, right? So, I want you to know that I'm feeling and I'm not over listening to myself, okay? So it's not gonna be perfect, possibly in the sound, but I'm sensing, oh, that feels good. That feels nice. The breath may change a little bit, that's okay. We're working on neck relaxation. Feel that? And start the motion and then bring in the sound. So I don't want you to do, right? We want those neck muscles relaxed before we start and as we bring in the tones, okay? Bobblehead. Just move that head around a little bit. I just moved the front of my tongue just a little bit just to double check. Oh, you're free? Yep, good, good. Checking for tongue tension while I'm bobbleheading. You could massage the jaw while bobbleheading. Now, another thing you can do to make sure that the head and neck are relaxed is you can just do a little shake. Just say, no, I don't wanna. Okay? Move those muscles around. They should not be tight as we're singing our E. They're not responsible for making an eval. An E is a tongue position. So I like to work the middle range as where we speak we can get a feel for these new ways of making that eval in a space that without too much effort, without all that extra muscling around that we sometimes do. So now for point number 8, what do we do when we go up in the tone? Okay, I've been going up a little bit, but not a ton. So that you have this foundation for this relaxation in the middle, let's play with what happens as we go up in the scale. Now you may find with the points that we've already covered that the eval is going to be already easier, right? So let's just see where it is now as we head up with that slack mouth, right? No smiling, grumpy singing right now. With that slack mouth, make sure that the jaw is nice and slack. You want to have that loose head and neck, okay? And we're keeping that idea of that eval in mind, but not pushing or driving as we head up. So let's just explore right now that eval, just seeing what happens as we head up, okay? So, C, that E wanted to change it to something else. I just let it for right now. But you noticed it stayed pretty pure in the E vowel most of the way because I didn't have all those extra muscles involved trying to make it be something that it didn't want to be as it headed up. So as I went through what in my middle voice, there's more of a chest head mix that's happening, right? And then I go into that pure head voice. For people that relate with more lower voices, if you're going into falsetto, you're gonna feel that as well, but you wanna keep that reinforced falsetto feeling so you're still keeping nice, beautiful sound happening there. But if you go to falsetto, that's great too. right? Because you're training, you're feeling what that eval is while you're heading up on that range, and you're letting the voice make those adjustments. So I didn't have to do a lot to my eval as I headed up, but let's say that you are having some issues. You're like, oh my gosh, it feels so different up there. It's going to feel different, right? It may feel like it gets a little bit smaller. Right in here for me, it's going to change. This is A, B, C, D, E. It's going to change. It's going to want to make that registration shift. Totally fine. I let it do that, right? As we go up, you may need to let your jaw drop a little bit, right? So when I'm down here, jaw is pretty like how I would speak, right? So me, C, B, right? As I go up, right? Me, me, my jaw unhinges a little bit, drops a little bit away. I'm not trying to hold it or keep it tight. Doesn't feel good. If I go up even higher, that's pure head. I'm just letting it spin up there. I'm not driving the air. I'm not pushing it forward for sure. I'm letting the eval take on the consistency that it wants to up there. Checking, right? If you find that those upper notes are kind of causing you some issues, check with some of the movement. Check with the tongue. Check with, you may have to find your E. Tiny, quiet. Maybe where you need to start to find that E. And then it'll start to open up and feel more relaxed because now it is learning how to make the eval without the tongue control. If you're finding you're spreading, you're going to have to find that E vowel without using those articulators. It's going to feel a little bit funky for a while, right? The tone may change, the quality may change. That's okay at this point because you're learning how to get all this extrinsic stuff out of the way. Okay, relax the mouth as you head up, right? And we're allowing the space to change a bit. And that's okay right now. The E is a tongue position, right? And as we head up, that tongue as the jaw drops, that tongue is going to relax. It's still going to stay there. That bottom right here, yeah? Okay, so now for the 9th point, I've been giving you lots to think about in this video, but take your time. Pause the video, try some things out, come back. There are several steps here. Go slowly, explore how it feels to you. And don't forget to bring in a balanced breath, all right, as you move with this E. We're really focusing on a lot of different techniques, and sometimes my clients are like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot to breathe. It's understandable because the brain is really focusing on some of these other little nuances. When you're ready, then just bring in that breath, right? And focus on that breath when it's time. This is definitely a process. You're not gonna get it just like that. It's not gonna, you might have a breakthrough moment for sure, but then to work it into your entire range, it's gonna take a little bit of time, right? Okay, so now, when you feel comfortable with that breath, bring that balanced breath in every single time. So we make one adjustment and sometimes something else will kind of go out of whack, right? So you're like, okay, the tongue feels good. Now I want to make sure the jaw, oops, and then it falls away a little bit. That's perfectly normal. That's definitely the learning process through our voice, definitely as we're learning how to sing, okay? So now what I want to do is I want to look at how, what happens when we go low, because then we've done the middle range, we've played with some of the upper range. What happens when we head down in with that E vowel? Okay, so as we go down, I want you to resist the temptation of opening too big. Keep the E vowel feeling small, that me, 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 me. That's low for me, yeah? But sometimes what we do is we get in there like, me, we start to sing and oh my gosh, we open too big and the poor little larynx is like, what are we doing? And the vowel gets funky. So as you head down, me, 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 keeping that vowel small, letting the breath move through that. Me, 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 me. I'm not doing me, 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 right? I'm not doing that. Still use your deadpan relaxed articulator face, okay? Me, 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 me. Use that M if you need to. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. I'm getting plenty of sound. I don't have to push, I don't have to drive, I don't have to overmake the space, I don't have to feel like I'm landing on the larynx. I don't have to do any of that. I'm really letting that eval work in the resonance space. I'm releasing the jaw, I'm letting my tongue be relaxed, right? So you can continue, even in the low range, check the tongue. Check and make sure the head isn't tight. Check to make sure that you're not landing or collapsing on that bottom note, kind of like a punct or a period, making sure you make that point. No, let that low note, me, 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 me. It doesn't have to be louder, heavier, just because it's lower. No, the larynx has got you covered on that. It will adjust to make those low notes. You just focus on that nice little simple smaller vowel in there and let the breath move through. Remember that the vocal folds are shorter and thicker in the lower range. So just keep the breath moving or spinning, because oftentimes we want to slow the breath and open the vowel too big. So don't do either of those, okay? Point number 11, once you've worked through each of these steps, for fun, pick a song and sing the entire melody on an eval and see how it goes. More than likely, you're gonna be moving through lower register to upper register. This will help you feel the difference as you change, right? Feeling the registration difference. Maybe the eval on the bottom will be in chest voice, then it'll go into mix, then it'll go into head voice. Maybe it'll have this nice heady sound, then it'll move back down into chest. You're going to feel like, so where does the E fit in all that, right? And I want you to sense that you don't have to do a ton to let the eval do that. Let it be a little more relaxed at the top with that jaw, right? Make sure all those muscles are behaving themselves as you're singing your E. You can also use the jaw massage, right? And now you're playing your eval all the way through, and then bring awareness to that breath. Now, the 12th idea, right? Then go through your song with the words that you're singing and notice when you have to sustain an eval or when you say an eval. When that comes up, make sure that you are using this nice free and easy new vowel space that you found within your songs. Okay, so apply it. Create that bridge between the practice and the technique into your song. Really bring awareness. Take a little highlighter. Here's an eval I'm sustaining. Does that feel relaxed? Am I relaxing my jaw? What's my tongue doing? Am I finding the freedom in that e-vowel that you're learning in this new space? Have fun with this. This is a lot of cool information, but your e-vowel is now finding a more neutral, balanced place to function. In the end, I always want you to sound like you. Okay, so always check in. Does this sound like me? If you record yourself on your phone, check in with your teacher. Hey, check in with your vocal coach. Make sure that it sounds like you, okay? Have fun with this and let me know how it goes. Always feel free to ask questions about the content in this video. Until next time, rejoice in your voice. Bye-bye.